On this week's news, De Vries stars in Monza, while Verstappen adulation is building. You can now watch full 24-minute episodes of The Inside Line at our official home on unbeaten.com. Dutch talent Nyck de Vries made his case for a 2023 seat in the strongest possible way in Italy, following a last-minute F1 debut for Williams, where he not just out-qualified teammate Nicholas Latifi, but scored points. De Vries, who drove FP1 for Aston Martin, was then called by Williams to replace Alex Albon, who was struck with appendicitis from final practice, and drove a hero's race to 9th, despite no rest after qualifying. I had a very bad sleep. It went from excitement into nerves, and I didn't dare even look into my sleep tracking, because basically I spent the whole night awake, he said. Albon is now recovering following successful laparoscopic surgery. Dutch Grand Prix sporting director Jan Lammers has hailed countryman Max Verstappen as the greatest F1 driver of all time. The reigning world champion, a once-in-a-100-year talent. Lammers, who had 23 starts in F1, is the public face of Zandvoort's race, but told the sports official podcast Beyond the Grid that Verstappen will, in the end, earn his rightful place at the top.
I really think, as objective as I can, I take my orange glasses off. I really think he's the greatest of all time. It's hard to compare Fangio with the likes of Senna, Schumacher, Hamilton, and Verstappen, because it's different eras, different challenges.
Lammers admires Verstappen's deep passion for the sport and says that winning his maiden title last year has calmed his mind.
That was always the target, and he's always very clear in his communication. Sometimes a little more clear than people around him like it. But he's very clear. So he's also said, like, okay, I've reached my goal. I always wanted to be a world champion Formula One. I am a world champion Formula One. He never set out to have 8 world championships.
Ferrari may have failed to win its home race, despite rolling the strategic dice for eventual runner-up Charles Leclerc, whose title bid is now in tatters. But it did at least look good doing it, with the Scuderia running a special livery to celebrate its origins and Monza's centenary. Canary yellow has always been part of Ferrari as the color of Modena, where eponymous founder Enzo was born, with red the color he had to then adopt as an Italian racing car. But yellow stayed as part of its world-famous emblem that features the prancing horse, and was on the car at iconic track Monza as part of the legendary venue's centenary celebrations. Daniel Ricciardo's future continued to be a hot topic in Monza, with the Australian weighing up his options for 2023. But 7-time F1 world champion Sir Lewis Hamilton has warned him from joining Mercedes as reserve, stating he's far too talented to sit on the sidelines and that the Brit won't be retiring anytime soon. Ricciardo's options following his impending McLaren split are limited, with Alfa Romeo set to retain its 2022 lineup, same with AlphaTauri, unless it can get Colton Herta, while the bitterness at Alpine runs too deep. Meaning Haas and Williams are the only real options, which Hamilton says Ricciardo should consider over a reserve role or even a sabbatical. Of course, if he's part of our team, that would be great, but third role is not really what's best for him. If I was managing him, he'd be racing, he said. China is proving the key to the 2023 calendar, with the Asian superpower pushing for its race to be held in October, alongside planned tennis and golf events, potentially signaling an end to its controversial zero-COVID policy that has turned it into a hermit nation. F1, however, wants the race to be held in April following Australia. Elsewhere, South Africa's dreams of a 2023 date at Kyalami have bitten the dust, with 2024 the focus. While in Europe, F1 is set to visit Belgium much earlier, allegedly with a July 23rd slot, with Zandvoort taking Spa's August date for the Dutch Grand Prix. Porsche's dreams of a Red Bull partnership from 2026 are officially over, with the squad keen to retain independence, though the sport remains an attractive environment for the German marque. Red Bull is advanced with its engine plans, which were kick-started after Honda announced its exit, with a first look given at its construction plans earlier this year in March ahead of the season.
It's an exciting period with these new regulations. It's important that we optimize those, and then come 2026, we'll have an all-new Red Bull powertrain engine in the back of the car.
But while Red Bull seemed the perfect partnership platform for Porsche, with the first power unit prototype running on a dyno at its Milton Keynes base recently, an 11th hour request from the German marque to change voting structures was seen as a red flag. With the squad keen to retain decision-making agility, something that could see it reunite with Japanese brand Honda. Felipe Drugovich has secured an 11th hour reprieve, with the Brazilian made the inaugural member of Aston Martin's driver development program, following his F2 championship win in Monza. Drugovich, with 5 wins in 2022, lifted the title off track after he crashed out of the Monza sprint, while rival Théo Pourchaire failed to get into the points, leaving him an unassailable 75 adrift. But while Drugovich struggled for F1 options pre-Monza, Aston Martin has since made him reserve driver for 2023 and will give him seat time in 2022, including at the Abu Dhabi Young Driver Test.
I'll be doing some also simulator work for the team, which should help them a lot. That's my goal as well, to develop as a driver and also try to develop the team. So yeah, hopefully my experience will contribute to that.
Drugovich is expected to also drive FP1 in Abu Dhabi, while over in F3, Alpine's French-Portuguese protege Victor Martins also secured the crown. Reigning F1 world champion Max Verstappen may be in hot form right now, with the last 5 straight wins. But the Red Bull pilot and teammate Sergio Perez cooled off ahead of Monza with a trip to Saint-Tropez for a Sail GP challenge in aid of partner Oracle. Both drivers were surprised by the similarities between F1 and Sail GP's hydrofoiling F50 catamarans, with their use of aerodynamics and carbon, as well as behind the scenes with the level of data analysis. Plus, each craft's deceptively high speed capabilities.
The boats can do above 90 kilometres an hour.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just a sailing boat. It's pretty cool.
It depends a lot on the wind, or
It does, yeah. It depends on the wing, and we also have a bunch of different setups.
Verstappen and Checo then took turns piloting the USA team's Challenger in a race against multiple Sail GP champions Australia, with its crew led by Olympic sailing gold medal winner Tom Slingsby. Mercedes says its original plan at the Dutch Grand Prix was to keep both drivers on the mediums, protecting against reigning F1 world champion Red Bull's Max Verstappen. But that George Russell's concerns about his set forced it to react, weakening its shot at the win. Mercedes was competitive in the Netherlands, with Sir Lewis Hamilton leading his teammate, but Russell's last-minute stop for softs under the safety car dropped him behind Verstappen.
On paper, we thought there was a fighting chance that if we had both our cars on that medium ahead of Max, we would be able to hang on to the lead of the race.
Mercedes couldn't also pit Hamilton for softs under the safety car, with the field going through the pit lane, leaving him 4th on mediums.
And as it happened for George, who was saying that he felt he was losing tyres on that medium anyway, we were able to stop him, and at that point we couldn't do the same with Lewis. If we'd stopped Lewis, he would have dropped behind Max into that second place. George would have actually dropped much further back because of the delay of servicing both cars.
Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.